Hello, everypony, and welcome to the Pony Public Library. So today we have with us, we're going to be doing the fanfiction of Apples and Wrenches, the popular rare gem of an OC slash main character story, which is done very well, very popular on Equestria Daily and Film Fiction right now, by the Right Bros. We have them both here today. Tom and James, why don't you two introduce yourselves?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, so usual stuff for Pony Public Library. We're going to ask you guys some questions, and you're going to answer. In addition, Dev is sick today. He could not be here. Well, he is. He's kind of just in the background, just listening. But he is sick. He can't really speak. In his place, we will be having today a guest star. Well, consider him a guest star, Rudolph from the main Friendship is Madness podcast.
Hey guys. Yeah, just expanding my reach across Friendship is Madness. Should know me as the co-host of the main show. But other than that, I'll just be joining Pio here.
All right. So first question: what gave you guys the idea to start Apples and Wrenches?
You or me, Tom?
I can take it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting how it happened. It was it started way back in the previous summer, and this is just when we got involved with Friendship is Magic. Like when we first started watching the show, like I had heard about it, and I was like, all right, I got to check this out, and I'm like, okay, I like this series. And so we had been talking about it, and I guess what happened was one day James proposed a little idea he had about, like, I guess this is something he normally does with any series or show that he gets involved with that he really likes, and I guess he likes to create a sort of character.
Yeah, I like to just create stuff because, one, boredom. Second, how can I work this into this? And it's always interesting.
Yeah. And
not all of them work out, though.
No. Well, when he told me this, I was like, how is that supposed to work? That's can't do that. That's, people would get upset, and you'd upset the fandom, and that wouldn't work with canon. But I guess he's like, well, no, hear me out. I've actually got a really good idea for a character to create. I'm like, okay, I'll listen. And so he started describing me about this blue stallion named Fix-It-Up, who is a mechanic at a shop in Ponyville. And I was like, all right, that doesn't sound terrible. That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting something a lot worse. And I guess he told me that he was going to be a background character. He wouldn't even be like, some important person involved with the day-to-day lives of the characters.
Like no seventh element kind of thing.
Yeah, no, none of this.
Oh, that'd be the worst thing to do.
No savior of Equestria and the true king of Canterlot or anything like that. But so I was like, all right, that doesn't sound bad. And then when all of a sudden I didn't even realize that I was actually interested. So I asked him, I'm like, okay, well, what does he look like? And so he told me that he's blue, he has a wrench for a cutie mark, he's got black hair. And I was like, all right, that's not bad. So I guess what happened was this one time with some really bad Photoshop skills, I made a picture of Fix-It-Up. And then I sent it to him. I'm like, okay, is this kind of what he looks like? And he goes, yeah, that's pretty close. So what he did was then I guess one night it hit him. He wrote up the rough draft of the first chapter and sent it to me, and he said, okay, what do you think of this? And I saw it, I'm like, oh, you're getting him involved with Applejack. That's interesting. But when I read it, I'm like, okay, that's not bad. So I said, with a few little changes here and there and some grammar corrections, this could actually have potential. So we sent it back to each other a few times, editing, and then we finally sent it to Equestria Daily to have it read by the critics there. And I guess after one rejection, we resubmitted it again, and then this is what happened. We got it submitted to Equestria Daily, and we started getting some ratings, and it was pretty cool.
I can see that.
Cool. And it reminds me, we did things very differently. back in our heyday, we knew nothing about Google Documents. So we worked primarily with Microsoft Word. We worked with Microsoft Word, and it was quite the pill having multiple copies of the same story that we kept sending to each other. But it was fun.
Right.
It was difficult. But we finally learned about Google Documents after Sophisto told us during the post-rejection. We were rejected the first time because some minor issues, but we fixed those and it got accepted. And we were surprised at that. The first time we got rejected was like, it was a downer. But after that, it was like, hey, look what we did. Holy wow. And yeah, so we finally got into using Google Documents. Like we even had like Windows Live open, and we had it going like sticks and stones with just the way we did things back then.
Right.
But it was neat. It was interesting. And to what he said, yeah, no, I tend to create a character for the things I get into. But Fix is different from pretty much every single one I've made. Like I write other things that never really see the light of day or never even get published per se. Yeah. Most of those involve a war of some type. Fix is different. He was my chance to write a very normal character, a very average guy, and that appealed to me. It was different, so I just ran with it, and yeah.
Sort of a modest character.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, may I say, it was actually a really good idea on how to subvert it. It's very, like a lot of people who do want to do this OC canon shipping, it just always falls in the same pit trap of making their character important because they're involved with someone important. I don't think I've seen anyone ever before, even in other fandoms, ever just try and make it someone who's on the sidelines who happens to be an off-screen friend.
Well, the thing with Fix was we wanted to make sure we had this guy who was important what he did, but like we noticed Ponyville had no mechanic. We're like, huh, that's kind of weird.
Prior to season 2, because I think
because they
in that Mayor Duo episode they had the whole construction team.
They don't have very many building codes, do they?
No, they don't. Not at all. Let's just call it competition. But
yeah.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. But I guess like, what he was going on, it's interesting. What we notice is, I guess, and I'm in no way trying to discredit the other people that have come up with OCs and wrote stories to introduce to the fandom. But I've noticed with OCs is that when they create the character, they automatically say that this is so and so, and they're important because they're like this big superstar.
This is Blade Hoof, Bullet Mark, and he was in the war.
The war.
The war.
A reference there for anyone who gets it.
Yeah. So I guess what happened was I'm like, okay, that's interesting, and I guess then a lot of things that one question you could ask that person is, okay, well, fine, strip them of that title and their rank of being the superstar, and what have you got?
Philanthropist, millionaire.
Millionaire, playboy, genius, philanthropist.
There you go.
I got it in the right order, but I got all of them, I think.
You got it. Yeah, so, and after considering that, I'm thinking, that's pretty much what happens, and that's why a lot of OCs don't make it, because it's like, well, that's great that the character is, important in his or her title, but what about the character?
It's like, so that's what you do, but who are you?
But who are you?
Who is this Desmond?
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. Anyway.
No, you don't even play Assassin's Creed.
I got that far. That's not the point, though.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we thought... So with Fix It Up, like, who is he? What do we make of him if he's... So when he's not a mechanic, just... Does he have a family? Does he have a love interest? And so we thought we gave him...
Well, I wonder.
I wonder.
Indeed, he does.
What a mystery.
Don't spoil it.
I haven't even read that far yet.
Guys, seriously, come on.
Yeah.
It's the crux of the story.
So so taking a look at it, we thought, what can, and so that's why it was good to make him a background character, because he's not even important to begin with.
And you can keep it ambiguous to canon.
Exactly. Yeah. That is our biggest thing, too. We have been... Oh, my goodness. We have been so careful with the canon. Like, I regard the canon and anything Foss says pretty much word of God, basically, as it said. And I try to adhere to that as close as I possibly can. And it has been so stressful. Like, I remember my biggest freak out so far was when they announced the Valentine's Day episode. I was like, oh no, so-and-so can get hooked up with someone that can totally destroy all my work. Oh no. Fortunately, that didn't happen. It was just her brother.
Luckily, yeah. But I mean, like, canon-altering OC shipping is far worse than anything possibly on the planet of Equestria Daily.
And that reminds me, that was our goal.
And that's not my opinion. That's kind of like the law. That's just like, I mean, I have to say I agree with it, because canon altering I mean, I've seen rare occasions where altering the canon perspective has come out well, or can be excused because, the episode came out after the story, or this is actually an interesting twist. But a lot of people who take the main cast characters and just say, well, this happened because I said so, they usually get stoned to death.
Pretty much,
yeah.
Oh, we know the fandom doesn't like getting told because I said so.
Yeah, definitely.
And that reminds me, too, one of the goals of Fix It Up was to make a character that would basically seamlessly fit in the background. Like, you could see this little dude walking around in the background. He wouldn't even notice he's there. But by seamlessly fit in the background, I mean, like, he can be involved with so-and-so, or he can do this, and it will have no conflict with the existing canon. Like, anything can happen, and with the way we've done it, wouldn't ever intrude on anything that is true, I guess you could call it.
Right.
So that was one of the main goals, and I'm not gloating. I think we've pulled it off.
It seems we did.
I'd certainly hope so.
I've noticed the show's actually been, like, probably unintentionally, but they've been very kind to us to where they haven't interfered in any way with the story, and vice versa.
Yeah, there's been so many random occurrences that have gone hand in hand, or hoof and hoof, I guess, with
his job.
With what we've written. It's like, wow, that worked out for the better. Glad we didn't touch that, or that works. And things like that.
Just coincidental nods in your direction.
Yeah.
Right.
Completely coincidental things that totally work out in our favor. I'm like, huzzah!
Well, I mean, from past experience, when we spoke to one of the animators on the show, they have openly stated that they do check various fans. I'm not saying that this is true, or I mean, it's a slim possibility that they are aware of fan fictions and fan various fan jokes, fan things, headcanon.
Derpy.
Well, I mean, that's one of the main examples, but I'm talking about like more subtle things.
And you kind of can't outrun Derpy.
Yeah. And Derpy more or less started MLP because the very first image of her posted, and the very first image for MLP posted on 4chan was, look at that weird pony's eyes. Hey, the rest is pretty good too.
Yeah.
And it was
began the story of Derpy Hooves.
Yes, yes.
Thanks, /B. Was that Comrades or /B? I don't remember. That was Comrades.
Yeah, I think it was Co.
Yeah.
What other questions you got?
All right. Yeah, it was Co. All right. So let's see.
Yeah. Since you wrote and did an OC insert shipping fic, there's no doubt that you got OC hate. So how did that go over?
Well,
that's
yeah.
An interesting thing that actually happened was when it first got submitted, we expected to, like, we figured, okay, we're doing two things that are pretty much like a deadly sin on Equestria Daily.
Just jumping into the deep end.
One was like OC characters, that's the first no-no, and then shipping with an OC. So we thought, okay, we're running a big risk here. And we did our best to kind of avoid, like, possibly not pissing off people too much, which was the reason we chose Applejack to begin with, which was because I noticed was among the fans and the main six, like Applejack was the least favorite. Like back when we first started writing this, we just noticed she wasn't getting as much attention as the others, and so we thought if we pissed off fewer fans,
Yeah.
we wouldn't get as much hate.
And the other thing was we saw, like this is actually relevant to the previous question. We saw a lot. It's actually relevant to both questions. We saw a lot of main shipping, like Apple Dash,
Yeah.
Water Dash,
Yeah.
Twi-Pie, Pinky Rarity. I don't know if I've seen that one yet.
I don't know about that.
There's a combination for everything. Like you
There
could
probably
put
is.
it in a random machine and have a story.
Right.
Yeah,
The,
but we were like, well, okay, what if we had some male-female shipping? I mean, there's a lot of chick stuff, so what if we just did something like this? And we realized just how few characters we had to work with. Like, we had, at the time, we had, like, what, 3 characters, maybe? Rayburn, Big Mac, and Caramel? And Caramel was, like, just a background character.
But that was back in during season 1 where Caramel was still curious about his own existence.
Right, yeah, he had 3 different appearances.
Yes.
And Rayburn and Big Mac. I mean, the problem we had there was, and this problem still exists in the show, if they're a male character, they're either taken, very busy, or related to Applejack.
Very busy. Or related to... Yeah.
And look, Fancy Pants, businessman kind of guy. Blue Blood, jerk.
Don't get me started on Blue Blood.
probably.
Shining Armor. Hello, married.
Yeah, married. Yeah, but you can do something spicy with him.
Oh, you...
Don't quote me on that, and also don't take any ideas. Don't do that.
We won't.
No, not you guys. I'm talking about anybody listening. Like, that's a stupid idea. Don't do that.
I actually cannot imagine I could ever write anything about them. That would be impossible. I mean, that's the thing. I don't like to write about things that literally exist as they are. I mean, I feel like I should leave that alone.
Right.
Like, there's things you should leave alone and things you shouldn't. And this is a tip for any writers. If you're looking to introduce an OC character, make sure they fit in the background well enough, but they're significant enough in their own story.
Right.
Make sure they're well-rounded, and don't... Others will write things you're thinking of, like
definitely
the future life of so and so characters who got hooked and hitched up on the show. Don't do that. Do something original, but make sure you do it right.
What I'm getting from that is make your character independent, make them be able to exist on their own without the canon universe, and then see how they would fit in the canon universe.
In fact, even if you want to, like, you can just make your own set of characters, which would also work. And if you can make your own group of characters that are all your own, have no interaction with the existing ones, congratulations, you won. If you can make that good. That sounds. I mean, you actually have no idea right now, but we kind of do have a set of. Well, I mean, they're all separate OCs of people on the show, but I mean, I'm not going any further than that. We've all got. I understand.
We've all got, like. I mean...
Friendship is Madness is getting an animated series. Well,
very cool.
It's been postponed, but we are...
It's probably still going to be postponed because Hawk is still out of commission, and some of our crew is going through hardships, but we've got a surprisingly interesting set of characters, and I'm actually looking to do some episode writing with some of the more eccentric ones. And, like, I have to say, like, some of the characters... I'm sorry if I'm taking some of the spotlight here, but, some of the characters that I've seen, like specifically from one person on that's you know gonna be in the show. Some of the characters that he pitches to you just sound like I'm not going into specifics, Pyle. I'm just saying, you know, some of the characters sound like the most ridiculous, stupid thing you've ever heard. Like you wanna take the character and just drop it immediately. Like don't want anything to do with it. But the way like. To me, I've seen this done before. You can make any character seem interesting. You can make any character independent. They don't have to be, like, you can take a bad concept and make it good in your own way. And I've seen it done before, and I'm very proud of people who can do that. Where, you know, I mean, I've seen people make different species of ponies and actually give them a very well-rounded story, a set of strengths and weaknesses, and good relevancy. I mean, anything is possible.
Yeah,
That could seem
entirely.
pretty
You just got to really put your mind to it, and you can do it.
You just gotta believe.
You just gotta believe.
Gotta believe, man.
You gotta
Just
believe you believe in the power of friendship.
Yeah.
Of course we do.
Okay.
Wouldn't we be here if we didn't?
I mean,
Mine's-
because arguably the fan base for My Little Pony, a friendship and tolerance oriented entity, should be not as bloodthirsty and like at your throat as others, but we've seen
Hey, the internet's the
instances
internet.
of you'd think so, right? But no, people can get pretty protective of their waifus. It's kind of sad, I know. It's okay.
Makes me wonder how many fans Rainbow Dash is illegitimately married to.
Oh my
dude.
God! Please don't get me started on that. Just
Rudolph.
All right. Now let's lay off
Rudolph,
some
what?
blows to people who could be listening or something like that. I don't want to do that.
I mean no offense towards any fan.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm just I mean, I don't wanna flat out say be more original, but I mean, you can do better, and you can. I mean, you can just
I mean, I think what a lot of the fans can pride themselves on in this fan base is their creativity and originality.
Absolutely. That's the reason I'm part of this, because it is the most creative fan base I have ever seen. I've been part of quite a few, and goodness, the things I have seen in this fandom, take that either way, but the great things I have seen in this fandom, I have seen so much great artwork of super high quality. I have seen heard music that was really pretty good. I mean, I'm not big on the music, but there's a lot of really outstanding stuff.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
no other place where you see
Yeah,
like
and
more
the
writers.
writing is also great. Just a moment.
All right. Well, also, so before we head on to the reading, who are your favorite ponies?
Wow.
Because you
Well,
seem to have chosen Applejack because of convenience. So
yeah, no, I won't lie. She's my favorite character out of the main six, mostly because I can relate to her in a way. I mean, I actually come from North Carolina, so it was kind of cool to see a Southern character so well represented. I mean, she wasn't totally stereotypical.
Oh,
There's a couple
jeez.
things here and there, but
Oh,
she
yeah.
wasn't ridiculously stereotypical. I mean, she was like presented pretty well. Like one of the things that really impressed me was the episode where she had the sleepover at Twilight's.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
I like that
I
one.
was like, they remembered that.
She's got
thing down
standards, and she's
Yeah.
not. Because I mean,
that episode did have a lot of character development.
there. And not
It-
only
it-
that, she's the friend that can be there. Like, she's dependable, and ponies depend on her, and that's cool. Like, she'll never lie to you either. She's the good friend, and
Yeah.
she's terribly overlooked because half of her friends can fly and do magic, and they're all great. Don't get me wrong, they're all great, but because she's so normal and relatable, that's one of the reasons I like her so much.
well, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, the
Smoke.
Wait, James, that's the reason I thought it was because you liked Apple so much.
Oh, apples are wonderful, but that's not the reason.
apples are what? I mean, yeah.
They
But,
do taste good. I love
yeah,
apples.
Yeah, but
Oh, why
when I saw the first episode of the series, the first episode when she gets introduced, I just looked at the character of Applejack and I wanted to hate her because I mean, this is the first episode, you're starting off, you're getting to know everyone. And the way she's presented, you're like, this is going to be the character that I hate. This is going to be the Southern stereotype that's always in the background, spewing something, Texasy,
Yeehaw!
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't want that every 2 seconds. No, but that's
Giddy up,
exactly
Mark,
what
very
she's
yeehaw.
not. She's
Exactly, I
displaying.
love that.
She's displaying, and I'm gonna say stereotype because yes, she is clearly a stereotype for Southern, characters. But she's displaying the stereotype in a good light. She's making
Yeah.
it. She's displaying the good qualities of a friend like that, and at the same time, she's also got a set of bad qualities that make her a realistic character. So she's not just a spokespony for, her kind.
Exactly, and
Being-
like
If I
every
could just-
character's a bit of a stereotype too. You can really look at it that way. Like, you've got the nerdy bookworm
Obviously.
type, you've got the party girl, you've got the athlete like who's like crazy into it, you've got the prissy fashionista who's good, and you got the really the shy introvert one. Is there someone I'm forgetting?
The shy one.
I don't think they're. I mentioned her. They're really
Hello?
but yeah, you got a variety of stereotypes. So that's just that's the thing.
But I mean, building off. I mean, Applejack. As I said, the first episode, I didn't want to like her, but now, I have to say she's in my top 3. And I like the point you made about, half of her friends can fly and do magic. The other pony in my top 3 again is Pinkie Pie, who is, an Earth pony. She's all normal.
Pie.
And
Applejack is the only one who actually works out and actually needs to work to get all these tendencies. And not to say that Rarity and Twilight don't need to train a lot, but
I think they're all pretty working. But I mean,
Rarity's my number 2 because she's also a dedicated worker to what she does. She's artistic and she does her thing, and that's cool. She's like an entrepreneur and everything. Like she started a business and crap, and that's pretty cool. And she makes money off of doing what she loves, and that's cool.
I just like her family. I just like her family.
Oh, her family's great.
I love her. But I mean, have you noticed? Real quick, little thingy. Again, this in so many ways this could have been viewed as another really bad cliche. But I like the way they have Applejack's aunt and uncle, sophisticated Manhattan residents, and then Rarity's parents are dim-witted, not dim-witted, but kooky.
Airheaded.
But this is nice.
Character.
Exactly.
It's like, oh dear, this is not what you expected Rarity to come from. And I had a feeling her parents would be like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, no, 3rd is Pinkie Pie because she's Pinkie Pie. I can't stop listening to Smile.
Yes, thank you.
That was one of the best songs of the series so far.
Go ahead and retain a bad mood after listening to that song.
You really can't. Like, you're down at the dumps. Your dog got hit by a car. Your girlfriend dumped you, and your father died. Listen to the song.
Oh my God. I hate to say it, but you're right.
That was a very extreme example. I'm sorry.
If I didn't get too far from the topic, I'm actually an Appalachian myself from Virginia, so I do appreciate
nice.
how they portrayed. I do appreciate how they portrayed Applejack.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me. I grew up mostly in North Carolina. I thought it was pretty cool to see that. I was like, very well done, DHX. Very well done.
Yeah.
I think we're off topic.
I mean,
yeah,
just a little.
Just a little. I mean, I was still saying about and I can't put them in order. Pinkie Pie and Applejack are in my top 3, and I'm not gonna say who's second or third. But I mean, obviously, first place for me has to be Rainbow Dash because of what you said about Applejack, saying you relate to her a lot. Pie, you too. Same thing with me and Rainbow Dash. I don't like her because it's cool to like her. I like her because she's a speed demon, but at the same time she's lazy. I can't get over how lazy I am, but at the same time, like,
oh, how terribly lethargic she is.
Oh yes, I mean I like how they made the characters all well-rounded with a set of clear strengths and believable weaknesses.
And that brings it back to Fixed Up.
Yeah.
Tom, let's go over Fixed Up's like strengths and weaknesses and like what we had to do to make sure those all existed. Go over that. You're better at that than I am. Far more.
Oh, well, thank you for putting faith in me.
It's what I do.
Yeah. I want to say definitely. I definitely want to say that his strengths have always been that he's been generally a kind and caring person from the beginning. Because if you've thanks for that correction. Because if anybody's read that far into the story, you'll know that basically. He had a bit of a tragedy during his childhood and ended up more or less having to kind of take care of his little brother on his own.
Which reminds me, a lot of like original characters and stuff like that, or any character, has a whole, oh dear, I had a tragedy when I was young, and it's affected me heavily. And I know that's like a thing to
that's
generally
rule
avoid.
number
I hope
3.
we've done that right, though. I know. I hope we've done that right. I hope we have.
Well, the thing is, I do think we did that right because we made it to where Fixed Up's not and still grieving after 10 years.
He's not a broken shell of a pony.
Yeah, like he's more or less, he's learned to cope by now.
He's fine.
So, but obviously then also we kind of portrayed him as a hardworking individual who's, working at his uncle's shop who, he's just trying to make a living for himself while kind of helping out with the family business.
He ended up being a little more daffy than I originally wanted to portray him, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, that might have been.
Yeah, that was Tom who did that one. We actually, the original intention was for him not to be so daffy, but it worked. Him being thick worked.
Yeah, I didn't mean to make him seem so, I guess,
Thomas!
idiotic when it came to dealing with girls, but
Ladies.
yeah, it was funny to me.
Yeah.
Well, either way, whatever path you take, you're gonna hit a stereotype, a cliche, or a preconceived. I mean, it's not avoiding it. Everybody's already done it, so just ignore it.
Done by
Exactly.
somebody, so.
Exactly. Don't let it get you.
It's just how you portray it, and if you portray it well enough, it can be overlooked that this has already been done. Goodness knows how many times.
And
Well, yeah, so some of the best stories I've read are stories that have a cliche or a stereotype, but you don't realize it while you're reading. You realize it afterwards, and you're like, oh wow, that was really well done. Like, good job.
Yeah.
I did not realize that cliche, but now that I do, I can't hate it. That kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So, what other questions do you have?
Deborah Pio, someone?
I don't think we have any. You guys ready to move on to the reading?
Sure. And I guess I'll answer a few more things after that too.
Yeah, we might like think something up as or after we're done reading.
Sure.
But from
This should be interesting to hear again. I haven't heard this chapter in some time.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
you guys wrote it, so
I would definitely say to any of our readers, you've probably noticed this, that our writing style has gradually changed as we've progressed through the chapters.
And evolved. Which reminds me, Tom and I used to spend 8 hours a night, every night, working on this story for the first 4 chapters. It was so tiring. It was really rewarding once we got done with that, but it was so tiring. We don't quite do that anymore, which is prevalent, obvious by the fact that we haven't released Chapter 9 yet, for which I'd like to formally apologize, dear fans who are listening. We will have it, and it will be worth it.
Yeah.
But
I do
we've-
apologize too. I think I'll admit responsibility that the delay has been mainly caused because of me, but
We've had internal team issues, we've had schedule issues, emotional issues even sometimes.
just personal life stuff too gets in the way. I mean, you can't. Reality is a pain in the butt sometimes.
well, that actually
Reality
brings
is
up
cruel.
You gotta prioritize it.
that actually brings up a question before we start reading, which you partially already talked about and answered. But for aspiring fan fiction writers, I mean, anything, I don't know, tips, just, I don't know, heads ups, I guess, because I mean, people go into this all the time, and you might want to help them out.
You could write the next War and Peace. People will dislike what you write.
Yeah.
It'll happen. And if you write something really good, you will get dedicated fans who will just want what you got next. So always keep them in mind. Always make sure it is about the fans, wanting to get them the story. I mean, every day that passes by that we don't release it, I feel terrible. I mean, but we got our issues to deal with, and it's just a pain in the rear. But the fans mean everything.
I mean,
so never forget about them.
Well, not just that, but on top of it all, you do want to be writing for yourself, because this is ultimately, it's going to be your story, and so you want to do this how you want to do it. No one's going to tell you how to write this, but it does help to take into consideration while you're writing it, how other people are going to react to it, because it's not just you who's going to be reading this. This is going to be, depending on how popular it gets, there's going to be thousands or hundreds of people reading the story, and so you do want to write something that'll appeal to them as well.
And no matter the subject, be very, very careful, because you can always you're driving with fan fiction. You're driving on a cliff, and if you miss that boundary, that turn, it could go downhill. You just got to be really careful. Stick to it, and you come out fine.
Don't be afraid to take risks, because there's risks that come into to writing any story. But
walk the tightrope, bend the string, drift the corner.
It's
there you
good.
go.
Yeah, walking the tightrope. It's still good though to exercise some caution and have a safety net. So either way, it's just, you just gotta write.
There you go.